Hey dolls and friends, welcome back and thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. If you're new here, my name is Amber Michawn and on this channel I create farmhouse inspired home decor using majority of Dollar Tree or other affordable items. But if you're not new, hey doll, hey. So in today's video, I'm sharing 3 brand new farmhouse style wreaths. They look so high end, they look so cute, and they are so easy to create. You probably already have half of the supplies on hand, so I know you guys are gonna absolutely love this video. I've always been obsessed with making wreaths, but now I'm obsessed with making different type of wreaths. I always make floral wreaths, but this time I tried my hand at using more fabric and a different kind of mediums and different kind of materials to make some beautiful wreaths. So I really hope you guys do enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed creating it. And if you do, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. If you're new, love what you see, but also love all things home decor and DIYing on a budget, I would also appreciate if you consider subscribing and hitting the bell right next to it so you're notified every time that I upload, and you too can be part of my Crafty Doll family. All right, dolls, let's go ahead and jump right in. For this first wreath, I am using this 14-inch wreath form as well as this styrofoam jumbo heart, both from the Dollar Tree. So first, I'm going to take some gray yarn. I actually got this from Hobby Lobby. It is their Yarn Bee collection of yarn. So what I do is I cut this in, or I do this in sections. So I just cut down a piece of, yarn where it's not too long for me to have to wrap around the wreath form. And all I'm going to do is just hot glue just the beginning of my sections and the end of the sections. And then I just keep going around until it is completely full and tight together. So this is what it looks like once I am complete. And I think I did like 4 different sections. I really don't know how long it was, but just cover it all up. Then I'm going to take that a jumbo craft heart, that styrofoam craft heart from the Dollar Tree, and I am first going to paint this. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag. I found that this process on covering this like styrofoam pieces with my Spanish moss, my green Spanish moss I got from Hobby Lobby as well. And I'm just going to paint the heart first using some moss green color. You don't really have to paint it if you don't want to, but I find it's easier so that way if you miss any spots, it still shows through green. And then I'm just going to cover up my heart with the green moss using some hot glue, and I'm going to do this in sections as well. I really like this moss. It cost, I think it was about $5.99 or something like that for this big bag. I got this last spring, so about a year ago, and it's still been working. I've still been working out of this bag right here. What I like to do is get a lot of moss so that I don't burn my fingertips, because I lose my little finger protectors from the Dollar Tree all the time. But anyways, just keep covering that up, and I promise you, using this hack of putting it in this plastic bag is going to keep your workspace so much more clean. Of course, I still got a little bit on my workspace, like on my desk, but it was still much easier to use the bag. So I just keep going and patting it in and gluing it down. Then I give it a little bit of a trim. I don't like to cover it all the way up and then give a trim. I like to section my trimming because you might not need as much Spanish moss or whatever it is that you're using that you think that you need. So just keep putting it on there, section it out, cutting it down, giving it a trim, and just keep going back and forth until your eyes are happy with the look of this. I also did the sides of my styrofoam heart as well, just to get nice, good coverage. I did not do the back, so it's not a 360 heart. It's just the front and the sides, and this is what it looks like once I'm done. And then now I have my wreath, so I'm going to go ahead and position my heart in the middle the way that I want. I'm going to use this small square dowel rod that I got from a pack from Amazon. It's linked to my Amazon store in my description box. But I am going to take some scissors and put a hole into the top of my styrofoam heart, and then poke my dowel rod in there. Now, I did this, honestly, you guys, I did this process like 4 times because nothing was working for me to hang this. I really want to recommend using maybe some floral wire to stick inside of your heart and then wrap it at the top of your wreath form, but I did not, and I could not find any floral wire until I was cleaning up my craft room, which was a couple days ago, but I filmed this video like a week ago. So yeah, that part, it was not fun having to do this. But anyways, I just put it in my dowel rod inside of the heart. And of course it broke apart because nothing worked the way that it was supposed to towards the end of this, this craft. But anyways, once I put the dowel rod in there and just secured it in there, I wrapped it up with some of the leftover yarn that I did have because you would still be able to see it, and I did not want to paint this rod. So all I did was just put the stick back together. I fished it through the wreath form because the wreath has 4 wires that go around. So I just kind of shimmied it through there, hot glued it shut together in between the yarn, and just put a lot of hot glue in between the dowel rod and the wreath form itself, and it stayed pretty well. I'm actually very pleased with how much it stayed. But to, like I said, to save yourself some headache, just use some floral wire. It'll save you a whole lot of time. So then once that my heart is secured in the middle, I'm going to take this ribbon that I got from Amazon as well, and I am going to make a simple bow. I just kind of loop it at the top, and then I am going to cut off how long I want my tails to be. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. And then I am going to use a piece of jute to tie it off in the middle, and then I'm going to ducktail my tails. I left my pieces of jute that were hanging off onto the ribbon because I actually fished through 3 16mm wood beads towards the bottom to hot glue that to the top of the heart. I did that off camera because I wasn't sure if it would look right, but it looked right, and I just basically, to secure the beads in place, I just hot glued the end bead onto the jute, and then I hot glued that right on top of the heart, as you can see here. And then I am taking another piece of that ribbon, and I'm going to split it so that way I can hang it. So I split it so that I can put it behind the wreath form and just hot glue that down to the yarn on both ends, and then hot glue the top part onto the back to get my loop. And then I just secured my bow in place using just a dab of hot glue right onto the top of the looped ribbon, and then cut off my jute cord that was hanging on there. And that's it for this one. I actually really love how this turned out, even though it gave me a little headache to hang my heart. It's actually really simple and easy to create, and I absolutely loved the gray. You can use white if you want, but I wanted to go in a different direction and use some gray yarn, and I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous.
I've been trying my best for a while, trying to please everyone who's around me. I've been putting on my fake smile, even though I'm wasting time. I don't want to be trapped in a box, trying to be like the rest when I'm not. I just want to go my own way, gonna let the past burn.
For my next DIY, this one is super simple. You're just going to take these new beaded wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I picked up this black beaded one, as well as some heart wood cutouts. These are from Hobby Lobby. I decided that I wanted to paint a couple of my hearts. I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep them the natural wood color or paint them white. So I painted 2 white just to make sure that's what I wanted to do. And then the next thing I do is just took some needle nose pliers and just took apart basically the wreath form, and then I removed, I think it was about 10 to 12 of my black beads. I just eyeballed it till it looked like it was supposed to, that my hearts would fit on that opposite side. So then to keep my beads in place, I just hot glue the 2 last ones together, and then the last one to the wreath form. Then I'm just going to hot glue down my wooden hearts directly on to the wire part of the wreath, and just situate them the way that I wanted. I thought that I was just going to have them go straight, but I decided it would be fun to have them kind of, go adjacent to one another. And I just used a generous amount of hot glue. As you can see here, 2 of them are only white, so you can choose to keep them the natural wood color, do 2 different colors if you want. In the end, I actually decided to paint them all white. But after I attached all of my hearts, I just put back the beads that would fit onto the end of the wreath, and then put my wire, I looped it back through the other side, and then used my needle nose pliers to clamp those closed. Be careful, because when you do turn this, it does kind of turn the entire wreath wire form. So I had to kind of mess around with it to get it back to the circular shape. And then I just added more hot glue onto the back of my hearts and just let it set there on my silicone mat until the hot glue dried. And that was pretty much it. I used the same ribbon from Amazon and made a bow. This is not how it's going to look. My camera turned off. I guess the battery died and I didn't realize it, but I just used a simple bow to as my hanger. It doesn't look like this, but you'll see it in a moment. And that's pretty much it. I really love how it turned out. It's super, super easy to create and super adorable. And I love that it can transition into everyday decor or even spring decor, depending on the colors that you use.
With you, I'm gonna leave it all behind. Find myself, I'm gonna start over new. Yeah, I'm on my way now.
For my last wreath today, I am taking this heart wreath form from the Dollar Tree, as well as some white nautical rope. I've had this white nautical rope for about a year and I haven't used it. And I know that I don't have enough for this wreath, but I'm still going to make it work the way that I can. And I also have some burlap from burlapfabric.com that I've been using for the last few years. So the first thing I did is just remove the red foil ribbon from the wreath. Once it's all cleaned up, I take my wire cutters and I just remove the little knobs that's on and around the red wreath. Now, I'm not going to paint the wreath because I'm going to cover it up with my burlap fabric like ribbon and just kind of wrap it around, just attaching it with hot glue on the beginning and the end of each section. And I just did 2 sections of that. Once that was done, then I'm going to take my white nautical rope and then just hot glue that to the back to secure it in place, and then just start wrapping it all around. Like I said, I knew that I was not going to have enough nautical rope to go all the way around. So I just left the openings on the sides because that is where the nautical rope is used the most. And to get more real estate out of my rope, I just decided to do the bottom and the top of the heart. Then the next thing I did is took some solo wood flowers that I already had on hand. Dollar Tree also has solo wood flowers. They're the small, like white cream ones. And all I did was just hot glue them onto the burlap that was exposed and just did a random kind of assortment of them. I love the neutral tones that are on this heart, but I also had 2 like soft pink flowers that I decided to put on both sides of the heart. And I thought it just brought a sweetness to it and just gave it a little bit of pop of color that it could use. It definitely really translates to spring. I absolutely love how this turned out. I love how all of these turned out.
I'll be going away for a while. Oh, and I don't know what I'll find. Maybe I can be a rock star, playing songs on my guitar. I know I have to be somewhere else to be able to find myself. Shouldn't be so complicated. If I listen to my heart, I'm gonna leave it all behind. Find myself, I'm gonna start over new. Yeah.
Alright dolls, that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you let me know down in the comments below which one happens to be your favorite. Alright, be blessed, stay safe, and I will see y'all on the next one. Bye!